Hi warriors and non-warriors, it's Amy from the Warrior Programme and I wanted to have a chat with you about sugar today. Primarily because it's one of the biggest things that I get asked about and it's one of the biggest things that's made a difference in my life. And the first thing I would say is that the food industry are a bunch of sneaky, insert word here, and they hide it everywhere. So even if a product is branded as being healthy or good for you, there's a very high chance that they've snuck sugar in from things like sort of nachos that you might think are, the packet ones, you might think are savoury, but you can pretty much guarantee they've hidden some sugar in there, down to bars. Snack bars I think are one of the worst things for this. They will brand it as healthy, they'll market it as such, and if you look at it, sugar is ingredient number one and number two. There are a lot of brands, particularly those that are marketed at kids, I'm not going to say any names, that are quite shocking, and they might even market it as a protein bar, so they might even direct it at people that are specifically really into exercising or healthy lifestyle already. But you can look in there and sugar itself might be the top ingredient, or almost worse, they might have hidden other things down the line. So you've got the kind of the overall thing as sugar, and you've got a million other sugar kind of, I don't know what the word is, kind of conjugated weird products, and they're things like xylitol, which you find in chewing gum and some squashes. Aspartame, again, very common in things like sugar-free squash. I never even know how to say it, but it looks like ace for lame. K, another one, which is they are very dangerous and they are hidden in all sorts of things. Lots and lots of studies, reputable studies, not just kind of samples of 3, anyway, in some weird country, that are linking these products to things like cancer, leukemia, weight gain, because they are these kind of weird chemicals that are brand new, so we have no idea how they really function within us, how they store within us, how they store within the environment. So that it's just too early to say, really, in the same way that it was too early to say with things like asbestos, and everyone bought that thinking they were incredible and fire retardant and amazing, and then 30, 40 years later we see the massive impact on health. I think it's a real kind of Russian roulette, swapping actual sugar with these fake sugars. So the drawbacks of too much actual sugar, we all probably know, I think, is weight gain, effectively, and changes in our mood. So having a big influx of sugar without being balanced by other nutrients means that we're going to go massively up in energy levels, and then after that has processed through the body quite fast, it's going to go dropping back down again, which we want to avoid as much as possible. The negatives of these other kind of fake sugars, and I'm excluding stevia from this. Stevia comes from a plant, it's completely of natural origin, so I'm not aware of any negative side effects of eating stevia. We don't know. We don't categorically know what they're going to do, other than these studies that have said fairly negative things to begin with. So my dietary choice with these is, number one, I try and avoid as much kind of actual sugar as possible because of the 2 aforementioned reasons, and I avoid the other funny sugars, of which we've got aspartame, xylitol, Splenda, the kind of sweetener thing people put in their tea. That is actually created by taking out part of the glucose molecule and putting a chlorine molecule in with it. Chlorine is the thing they use to keep like the bacteria and like the wee out of the pool and like clean it out. So I don't think you necessarily want to be putting that into you. Side effects of that are, according to one study, that it basically wipes all the bacteria out of your stomach, which makes complete sense. Anyway, I don't eat any of those. I keep them completely out of my diet. I would never drink no added sugar squash. I'd never drink squash anyway. But that is the reason, because not only when we're talking about health and well-being and fitness, we want to talk about weight loss and maintaining a healthy body weight, which is obviously important and of concern to all of us, but we're also talking about long-term health, and we're not going to make really kind of short-term decisions to eat these so-called healthier alternatives to sugar, healthier in that they have less of an impact on weight gain, although we still don't know for sure whether they do or whether they don't. Long-term health implications of eating them are massive. So the first thing I'll say to you today is to start getting aware. Start reading packages. Like I say, even things like sandwiches, there is sugar in them. It is insane, but it's there, and the motivation for it is the food industry want to sell you their food. So they want to make it taste as nice as they possibly can, and one of the ways to do that is to put sugar in it. Sugar is addictive, has similar effects on the body to drugs like cocaine, and They want you to love their product, and they want you to buy it, and they'll make money, and etc, etc, etc. Might sound very cynical, but the food industry is a business, and we need to remember why they are acting in a certain way and promoting their products in a certain way to us. Start getting aware, start reading labels. Start having to think about where you want to pitch yourself along the lines of sugar. I eat fruit, I eat dried fruit, like I say, I do eat some processed sugar. I would love to say I eat none, but that's not the case at the moment. I try and minimise as much as possible. I try and make conscious food decisions, so that I'm being conscious that what I'm putting in my mouth is what I am choosing to put in my mouth, along the lines of the kind of woman I want to be, the kind of lifestyle I want to lead, the kind of example I want to set, and where you sit in terms of these fake sugars. So for me, I am an absolute no-go. If I read any of the aforementioned on a label, I am not eating it, absolutely no way, because I'm making a bigger decision in terms of my long-term well-being rather than just my weight right now. Some people will say fruit is a bad thing. I would disagree. Fruit has so many nutrients and kind of incredible benefits to our health and our well-being that I would say to take the extreme stance of cutting out fruit is a little bit too far. Within fruit, you might hear things like, you might have heard the term glycemic index before. Basically, that is a fairly crude measure of how defined, like how a portion of food will affect your blood sugar and insulin. So insulin is the hormone that body reduces to help manage the sugar in your blood, because it obviously can't allow it to be too low, can't allow it to be too high. And some foods and some fruits have a greater effect on the blood sugar than others. So things at the higher end, so things like pineapple and watermelon, have a greater effect on your blood sugar than things like berries, which are considered to be of a lower glycemic index, or GI. So there are all sorts of kind of decisions to be made within that. Some people purely stick to low GI fruits. Some people, like myself, eat the full range of the spectrum. I'm not eating 10 to 15 portions a day. I would say on average I eat maybe 2 to 4 portions a day. That works for me, and that's a kind of a decision I've made from all the things I've mentioned. So the point of today really was to give you a little bit more information about sugar and the various types that are around, and to start you thinking about where you want to set yourself along the spectrum of sugar eating. So I hope that's helpful. I hope that's giving you a little bit more information than you had before. If you've got any questions, then please do comment below. Sugar is something I am pretty passionate about, so I would love to help with any queries that this has thrown up. If not, I'll see you next time.